So in the overnight session, the recent bearishness continued and we saw a downside move into those more significant areas of support where responsive buyers stepped in. And since then, we've seen a complete reversal back up towards the overnight highs. And now heading into the open, our intermediate term bias will be bearish, but our short term bias will be neutral because the market may have now found a short term floor. And if we get a successful breakout above the 5,055.75 to 65.75 initial resistance, then we could go right back up towards yesterday's high. Now the big challenge today is that majority of the range potential may have already played out. So even though the market could go higher, the question is how high can it really go, given that the overnight low is at 49.63.5. So we have the intraday bias changing zone at 5,055.75 to 65.75, and then we're going to be using the 5,046.75 to 51.75 area as the micro bull bear zone to help us determine which side is being dominant on the smaller time frame early in the session. Holding below 5,046.75 would be an early sign of intraday weakness, and then on the downside we have pre-market support at 5,035.25 to 39.25, and a break and hold below that area would serve as an intraday bearish indication, and from there ES can head lower into the initial support at 5,009 to 5,019, where responsive buyers can be active on first test. And keep in mind that we will need to see signs of initiative selling in order to get a sustainable breakdown below pre-market support, and especially below initial support. And in the event that initial support breaks, we can test 49.93 to 5,003, where responsive buyers can still be active on first test. That is going to be the intraday bias confirming zone, and a break and hold below 49.93 can result in a test of the 49.71.5 to 76.5 area, and the overnight low at 49.56.75 to 66.75, where again buyers are likely to be active on first test. Now, given that a lot of the range potential has already been used up in the overnight session, and we don't have any major economic reports out today, and then today also marks options expiration, in the event that we hold below initial resistance and we do end up heading lower, the market may just consolidate and balance within a range, and buyers may step in at the 5,009 to 19 initial support, and from there ES may begin balancing, or maybe buyers step in at 49.93 to 5,003, and then the market goes into a balancing phase. And in order to get a bigger sell-off, we would need to see trend down type conditions. On the upside, if we get a breakout above initial resistance, then the overnight sell-off will be invalidated, and at that point buyers would be more dominant on the day time frame. Our intraday bias would be bullish, and keep in mind that our short-term bias is neutral, so that intraday bias gains more weight. So given that our short-term bias is neutral, we are going to have to be much more aware of the real-time intraday situation, and early in the session how the market behaves at the 5,035.25 to 39.25 pre-market support, as well as the micro bull bear and the 5,055.75 to 65.75 area is going to help set the bias and tone on the day. Below initial resistance, there would still be the potential for sellers to step in, but we would need to see a breakdown below pre-market support in order for our intraday bias to turn bearish, and above pre-market support, there is still potential for buyers to step in. So between pre-market support and initial resistance, our bias will be neutral, and then whichever way the market breaks outside of those zones is going to help us determine what the intraday bias is shaping up to be. So that is the plan heading into the open. Let's see how the real-time situation shapes up and how the market behaves at the pre-market support, as well as the micro bull bear and the initial resistance zone. That's going to help set the bias and tone on the day, and we'll take it from there.